We are live. We are talking touchdowns. This is the Nuke the House YouTube channel. Guys, give us that thumbs up. We are here Monday reviewing the slate, and then, of course, Friday breaking this down game by game. Because of the NBA in-season tournament, I don't think there was any NFL last night, so let's just dive right into today's game.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
I just wish I had that video clip at the end of Meg's show where I had to literally put my hands up like this, screaming at you to not bet Mike Tomlin. And exactly what happened.
I had under 30, under 15, and under 20.
I walked into work and my buddy was like, "Hey, I got this bet. No touchdown scored." I was like, "Well, rip that ticket up because everyone and their mother's on it and they're going to score on the first drive." And there went Zeke. I said, "Yep. There goes everyone's tickets right off the bat."
I said it. I said because
they were getting that out of the way as fast as possible. They were like, "We're killing all those tickets." Then the game was over the total by halftime. Bailey Zappi looked like a fucking stud out there versus that defense. Like,
well, what's funny is I took under 31.5 on Sunday. So it's 31 points at half. And I'm like, yo, there's a chance. We could see 0 points the second half.
I had a nice sweat on it was a 50-1 parlay. I can't even take full credit for it because I heard it on a PFF podcast. So shout out to that guy. I don't have his name, but it was Bailey Zappi, 250 plus passing yards and Patriots minus 6.5. Well, he finished with 240. And if they don't give up that late score, they cover that 6.5. So had a nice sweat there, but get one of those home eventually. And
yeah, no, I had a feeling it was going to be.
What can we say? The Steelers are going to go like this to end the year. They're just going to teeter off. And don't look now, JC, but I'm going to go ahead and put my Bills jacket on, and I'm going to go ahead and bet the Buffalo Bills 20-1 to win the AFC, because if they make the playoffs, are they the second best team behind Miami almost automatically?
I think we'll find out this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Spread?
How you doing, Spread? LeBron balled out. Mike Tomlin died last night. How'd it go?
Hey, did you see someone said LeBron is trying to do the one thing Michael Jordan could never?
Beat Father Time, win an in-season tournament.
Leave Vegas out $500,000.
Yeah, leave Vegas.
That's good.
Yeah, that's it too.
All right, let's check in with the chat. Fan Speak, of course, we do the show with Meg, and this is her asking us, what up, guys? I caught the end of the NBA show, like the TD parlay again. Any other Degen player performance doubles for me? So, Tyler, remind me, because, I can get spaced out, especially today. Like, I think yesterday broke me. So let's make sure we get a nice little player performance double parlay. I see my guy Keg in the chat. Guys, if you're not aware, I mean, I'm pretty sure you are, but he will be live this weekend breaking down. Tyler, is there a UFC card?
Yeah, there's a small UFC
he'll be on for UFC Saturday night, and he'll be on for NFL on Sunday. What a surprise. Look who's here today, Tyler.
He was the first comment in the NBA video.
Yeah.
Can't do my guy Johnny Nelson like that. He was celebrating that Lakers win on that NBA video.
Yeah, and then look what he's trying to do to me. Now you
guys match up this week.
All right. And finally, because you couldn't go we're 3 minutes in. Robert's got to piss me off. Steelers blow. Correct. Tomlin should be replaced, but Steelers will never do it. What? What are you talking about?
I will say,
he's not the GM.
I'm not the biggest fan of him, but like, if we're gonna replace him,
who are you gonna get? Look what we just talked about with Milwaukee.
Not even just who. Just do not do this as like a firing. Like, oh, we're gonna let him walk. You got to do it as like with Deshaun Payton did with the Saints. It's like trade his ass to, for instance, Meg's in the chat. That's where Tomlin came from, was like the Washington areas. Trade him to Washington and get their first round pick back for him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do not let that man walk for nothing. Like, use him like a player and trade him for something if we're getting rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, I just don't think it's his fault. I mean,
yeah,
we already talked about Kenny Pickett, right?
I'm not his biggest fan, but I don't think what's happening right now is 100% his fault. There's other reasons why I don't like him. It's just the year after year of getting into the playoffs and just no adjustments, dudding out in the playoffs. You got to start winning playoff games for me, buddy.
I was in a Mexican restaurant this weekend, and they were playing that '09 Super Bowl, the Cardinals Steelers. I didn't realize Tomlin hasn't been to a Super Bowl since then. It's been 15 years.
No, he played the Packers. He played the Packers 2
Only
years
two
later.
teams go every year.
Okay, I forgot about the Packers. That was after. When was that though?
2011, I believe.
Okay, still, it's been over 10 years since you've been to a Super Bowl. Like, how is that okay in Pittsburgh?
The biggest thing that gets me is you had Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, AB, Martavis Bryant, Heath Miller. You had a loaded offense, a good offensive line. You had about 5 years of that.
Yeah, but you were going against the best dynasty of the past since the 49ers.
But it wasn't like they were like stacked at that point. Spread. We were getting shredded by Chris Hogan.
I was going to say
Chris
also,
Hogan
too,
went for like
how many
9
years were you even
catches and
eliminated by
211 yards
New
on us in
England?
an AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
We lost to Jacksonville and Blake Bortles after getting the first round bye.
Yeah. That was
There's
great. That was
games
something.
we shouldn't lose in the playoffs.
You know
We
how much
lost
money I
to
lost on
Tim
that game,
Tebow.
Tyler?
Fucking Tim Tebow in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
What's
right.
your
Wow.
excuse there?
You got some very memorable losses.
Brock Osweiler beat us in the playoffs. Like, this is Tom.
At least you have playoff losses to remember. What does a Raiders fan have?
Fun.
No.
I got to go back to 2002 where our center went to Mexico and went freaking crazy.
I would rather be on my couch than just go in the playoffs and lose, spread.
I would rather go to the playoffs and lose. You just argued this for the Kings. You tried to tell me that trading like the best point guard in the league for an average big is okay because we made the playoffs
That's because
one
you're
year.
talking about a poverty franchise that hasn't won anything. The Steelers got 6 rings. We don't want to go to the playoffs and fucking lose. We want to win a ring.
Dude, I'm just catching shots left and right today.
No, I completely agree though. Like this is a different conversation you have when you're talking about what's supposed to be like the most prestigious franchise in football.
Like the Kings making one trade isn't going to whip up 8 championships. Like it's just not going to happen.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are plus 2.5. They're in Cleveland taking on the Browns. The total is up to 33. I think that's the idea that Trevor's going to play now, and I'm pissed because we bet it at -3, Tyler, and we could have got this better number. I'd say for most of the year, though, betting on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how the week goes, has been good for us. Most of the times the lines have moved in our favor. Well, we're glad to have got that number early. In this case, we're not. I wish I could just rebet it now. Everything that we said about the Browns, well, let's see if people didn't see this, the Fan Speak show. I'll go over it again. Browns have the best defense in the NFL. And then you sort it just by how well their defense has been playing at home. They're averaging like 10 points per game, giving up. It's going to be a crazy weather game. We talked about how, for whatever reason, the river or the way the stadium's facing, that stadium makes wind worse. It amplifies the whatever wind exists in the Ohio area.
Great Lake, that's why.
Yeah. So, and if Trevor's playing and he's not 100%, I mean, that could even hurt the team more than it helps. I love the Cleveland Browns here, Tyler. My only concern is that when we made this bet, I thought for sure we're getting Flacco. Now they're being coy. The same DTR might start. They got to start Flacco, right? And the total went up 2 points, and that's the anticipation of Trevor playing. Now the total's 33. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm still on the Browns. I mean, the total went up. I can care less for the total. I wasn't betting it in the first place. It's an ugly weather game. If anything, I'm just coming in on the under again. There's supposed to be all these wins. Even if Trevor plays, like, he's not going to be mobile against the best defense in the league. And it's Cleveland at home. Like, JC, if you pull up the defensive splits for Cleveland and you look at their home-away splits, they give up about 10 points at home to 30 on the road. That's a giant split, and they're going to be at home with the weather, using their advantage against this team, against a hobbled quarterback, with both their running backs also questionable, Dearness Johnson and Etienne. I got to take the Browns here. This has got like 17-10 written all over it.
JC, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm having a tough time with this one because, I mean, you got to admit, though, an immobile Lawrence is still better than a fully healthy CJ Beathard. So I don't think I still think that's the right call.
But the thing is, the quarterbacks that have beat this Browns team can move. Neither guy that Jacksonville's sending on the field can move.
Probably true. I mean, you got to figure, if it is just a sprained ankle, like, Lawrence should be fine. How pathetic like that big show on Monday night. And
It's a high ankle sprain though. That's a bad one. Like that's not the normal.
Sure, but
you ever sprained an ankle, JC?
Oh, several times.
Okay.
Several times.
I just wanted to make sure because the way you were like, nah, it's all right. Like, oh my God, this guy's never sprained an ankle before.
No, I have, but I'm not a professional athlete. Like, I don't have the attention of medical professionals at my beck and call. So that's kind of why, you shoot him up with something, and I think he'll be fairly good to go. I agree, though, that Cleveland defense at home is its own monster. And while this game screams under, you'd hate to see Lawrence go out there and just look like nothing happened last weekend. So honestly, I'm staying away from this game at every angle.
Well, too bad, because we're going to be catching that Browns ticket. Wish you could join us. So maybe I'll buy a Taylor Swift album with the winnings. The Los Angeles Rams are plus 7.5. They're in Baltimore taking on the Ravens. I have a total of 40. That's probably because Keg just bet over 39 in the Ravens-Rams. The book saw that money and said, we need to move this total. He says, feels like the total jumped. The Shark is supposed to be mid-60s, 12 to 14 gusts of rain. That isn't enough to keep these two offenses from scoring. The total feels way off to me. What do you think, Tyler? I have to agree with him. I don't like I don't like taking the side. I think he's got a better angle on the total here. We didn't have a play on this game yet. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like that take on taking the total over 40.5 because that's a low enough number too. Because remember earlier in the week, you were like, oh, we were talking up the Ravens. It was like, well, Lamar as a favorite of certain number. The trend shoots out that he's like, oh, against whatever that number is. It's a terrible trend.
Yeah, and Robert's in the chat. Robert can post it.
While I was walking around work last night, spread, and this thought popped back into my head. The Rams are an NFC team. Lamar.
Yeah, I was going to say there's the opposite
Lamar
trend.
puts NFC teams on dog leashes and takes them down the street for a walk. So I think he can blow this team out of the water. I'm not scared of the Rams defense either. And with a total of 40, if the Ravens blow this team out, they could score 40 on their own. So I love the over here. I don't think you need much out of the Rams on the other side. And I think Baltimore puts a huge number on this team. So I love Baltimore as a teaser spot, getting that down to 1.5, and love that overlook by Keg.
Yeah, I had this game projected at 43. What are your thoughts, JC?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much tracking exactly with Tyler. I mean, looking at the Rams coming off 3 straight wins and then seeing Baltimore's kind of recent history of, they only beat the Chargers by 10. They could only beat Browning by 14. They lost to the Browns, and it feels like 7.5 is too many points. But it is. It's an NFC team, and that kind of throws everything out the window. So I completely agree that I think you just bet the over. I think that's a great way to look at it because, as Tyler said, if this goes like it does against NFC teams, Baltimore will completely handle this that 40 points. And if it's a close game, kind of like both these teams are tracking, and it is a Rams cover, it's still going to be they're going to get at least 20 each. So it seems like an over is definitely the safe way to attack it.
All right, Tyler, we're going to add that play in right now. The Detroit Lions are minus 3.5. They're in Chicago, taking on the Bears. And so this is one of the few times that the Lions will actually be outdoors. I have this game projected by the Lions to win by 5, but I kind of like the Bears. I think they've been playing well lately. We talked about how well Justin Fields does against those zone defenses. He should be able to get out there and run. And I think the fact that they have to go outdoors is going to be huge for the Bears, not to mention the Bears season is pretty much over. So this is going to be one of the biggest games for the year for them. Fading the Lions, dome teams outdoors. I'm all over that. I like the plus 3.5, but I haven't pulled the trigger. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm on Bears here. This is trap of the week. And I want to bet it through a fun same game parlay here. They finally put the numbers up, but we got to do it on DK. He ran for 100 last time against this defense. This defense is just going to give him free running lanes. And I feel like we're going to get nice odds on this same game parlay. Where is this at? If you took Fields to rush for 100 yards, which he did in the last matchup against his own defense, Lamar put up similar numbers too. I think he does it, and you take the Bears minus 3. That gets you a plus 750 ticket. I like that. I think the Bears win this game. It's outdoors. I expect Goff to make the mistakes, and I think Fields just tucks it and runs. This is an audition for him too, because as much as it sounds bad, he's on his third year, and he's got to audition for the team to keep the job, because if he doesn't look good to end the year,
I don't think he's keeping the job. I think he's auditioning for other teams.
I think that too. It's auditioning for slightly Chicago and mostly the other teams. He would have to be lights out to end the year for Chicago to be like, all right, maybe we move this pick around in the top 5 and go get Marvin Harrison in the top offensive lineman. But in the end, I think Chicago gets in there, wins the game. It's the upset of the week everyone didn't see coming. But in the end, it was Detroit outdoors. It was a lot more obvious than people realized.
All right. Interesting stat here, Robert. He says favorites of 3.5 to 8 at home, or 1-4 against the spread. Seems like they've played more than 5 times.
Also, they're neither the favorite nor at home. The favorite's not at home in this one.
Maybe he's bringing that up for the last game. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm on the line.
That good old first drive parlay that me and Keg love betting is for the punt in this Detroit-Chicago game, which there's going to be weather in this, plus 240. I think I'll take a shot on that.
Okay. JC, what do you think here?
I mean, I don't know how you can look at this slate and say this is the trap of the week. I mean, they're only a 3-point dog, and it's a divisional game.
Wait, it's just the spot where everyone's going to look and be like, good team versus sucky team, -3. Click.
Yeah,
you're telling me casuals don't see Detroit -3 and just run and click that button?
For sure.
Especially if you only play fantasy and one team has like a prolific offense and the other team doesn't. I think the strength of the Bears here is that if you sort by the last 7 games, their defense is actually better than the Lions. So if they are able to keep pace offensively, and the Lions got off to a hot start last week, and then they kind of sputtered. That game was way closer than it should have been. And when I watched that game, I said, if this Lions team is really a contender, they would have done what Miami did. What did Miami do, right? They got to a big league, and then they kept it. They didn't have to sweat the end of the game.
You're gonna
right?
find
And that's why we talk about Miami as a real contender, and we talk about Detroit as a fun story, and it's great for a starving fan base, but they're still a year or 2 away, especially on that defensive end. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't know. I don't know if I can get there. I mean, I kind of see it. I'll probably just stay off of it, but I just see, I mean, you look at Detroit's last 3. They narrowly beat Chicago 3 weeks ago. They lost to Green Bay, and then they're coming off a game that was way too close with New Orleans. I just feel like they understand the pressure they're under. They got a chance to get the 2 seed. And like, I feel like they know what's at stake. And I don't know if you want to buy into the narrative, but I mean, Chicago, they're trying to get 2 top 5 picks here. So while I agree Fields is kind of playing for his
I thought that about New England last night, though.
For sure.
I mean, they kind of fucked themselves out of the possibility of Drake May.
I mean, you're probably right. We talked about this before. It's the NFL. Like,
absolutely.
They might want to tank, but like these guys aren't going to tank.
For sure. But at the end of the day, you still got a team that's got like playing for way more. And after how close that last game was, I don't know. If I really had to, I'd rather take the Lions here. But honestly,
they pretty much locked up pick 1 with last night's Patriots win, because that puts the Carolina Panthers 2 games ahead of the Patriots to lock up the 1 pick.
Yeah.
Sure.
How much different is, say, 1-7 to 1-4 when you're sitting at
Marvin
7?
Harrison Jr.'s in play.
You could probably go up and move up anyway if you really needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you really wanted that guy, you're right there.
No, I mean, you're probably right.
I don't think the Bears are going to tank it out. I like the plus 3.5.
I mean, they've looked. I mean,
book, right, Tyler?
Yeah,
they've looked much better recently, but it's still. I don't know.
The other big thing here: Frank Ragnow, main key piece on the offensive line, the center, not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive tackle, name slipping my head right now. Main key piece on defensive line, not playing. That's both guys in the trenches that you need. We've seen Goff go completely average without Frank Ragnow under center.
Are we making this 3.5 official?
I'm not going to say official, but I love betting it through Fields in his rushing yards, or like a Fields touchdown and win.
So I can't put 3.5 on the sheet.
No, not yet. Don't try and make me
Carolina
snap bet,
Panthers.
Fred. Don't try
Pardon?
and make me snap bet stuff.
Bro, we've seen these lines have been up since Sunday.
I know. Maybe I want to sleep on it one or two more times. Maybe I don't want to bet until Sunday morning when we get the last injury report.
Marinating on the corner with the chip in my phone. You can tell that the hillside was his home. The Carolina Panthers are +6. See in the chat who knows that one. I bet you guys don't. New Orleans Saints are -6. The total is 37.5. Tyler, I had this one projected as a Saints win, but didn't I project a bit? I projected a 10-point loss against the Panthers last week with the Buccaneers, and it didn't come through. I still think the Buccaneers are probably better than the Saints.
Yeah.
What do we do here, Tyler?
We skip this game. That's what we do, spread. That's just, it's Winston. It's Carolina, Bryce Young-led team. It's just not built at all right now. So I want nothing to do with this game.
Okay, me neither. JC, are we missing a winner?
I don't think so. I'd lean Carolina if someone's just dying to bet it. Just at 5.5 divisions. Saints been playing terrible. Carolina took a little bit of a bump with the new coach last week, but yeah, I got no interest in touching it personally.
All right, Clyde's been in the chat for 1 minute, already taking a shot at me. He's not a team part of the old man gang. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I just mentioned, are +2 in Atlanta, taking on the Falcons. The total is 40.5. Tyler, I've been trying to hype up the Buccaneers all year, and they haven't been coming through for me when we've bet on them. I've had a problem getting a handle on this team. I like the Falcons -2, but I admit that my my Buccaneers takes have been terrible. What do you think of this one?
I say we say screw the side spread and we just bet the over.
Why is that?
We watched these teams play each other earlier in the year, and both teams drove up and down the field easily. Like there was no defense on the field, and they would get in the red zone or inside the 5-yard line. I'm pretty sure Atlanta
would fumble.
They fumbled twice on the 5. That's 14 points left on the board. Tampa Bay left touchdowns on the board, and I'm pretty sure they still came very close to this 40 number in the weather. Now you're going to put them in a dome. Like, I think this is a smash spot for the over. I think Mike Evans and Baker have a good game. I think Atlanta's put points on the board. That Tampa Bay defense is beat up, and I'm not really scared of it anymore. So 40.5, I think that's an over spot.
Can we actually bet it, or do you need to?
No, we can bet this one. I ain't got to sleep on this one.
All right. We're betting the over, JC. Before I hit submit, is there any reason I shouldn't?
No, but I do think you're missing out on a much better play.
What's that?
That is Tampa Bay plus 120 on the money line. The past 3 weeks have culminated perfectly to give us a plus money play here. I mean, when you look at what these teams have done of late, Tampa Bay managed 14 on San Francisco. They put up 20 on Indianapolis, and then they edged out Carolina last week. But they lost 2 of their last 3 in a close game, so they're kind of undervalued here. Then you look to Atlanta. What has Atlanta done? They lost a close game to Arizona, and then they beat the Saints with Ritter throwing 2 interceptions and like 150 yards. They still managed to beat the Saints. Then they managed to beat the Jets with Ritter only throwing for 120 yards. So they had these pathetic wins that kind of bumped up their value, inflated it completely unnecessary. So now they're favored here for some reason. Tampa Bay is playing better ball. I will gladly take plus money for a Tampa Bay win.
I don't think anyone's agreed with me on any pick on any of these shows.
I don't mind the over, but I just think Tampa Bay is a better play here.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that info and keeping me off the side because I wanted to bet Atlanta. Oh. I don't know if you swayed me to bet Tampa Bay.
Sure.
But you took me off the Atlanta pick.
You know what? Taking you off a loser is just as good as giving you a winner.
It's better because I lay -110. So I would lose 1.1. If you give me a winner, I only get 1. Do you see what I'm saying? If you keep me off a loser, you save me 1.1 units.
Sure.
Because I always bet 1.1 to win 1. If you gave me a winner, I only get one.
But it's a 2.1 swing.
I'm right. The Indianapolis Colts are +2 in Cincinnati taking on the Bengals. The total's 44. Tyler, I want to add this to the sheet, and I want to fade a dome team going outdoors against the Cincinnati Bengals team that was the serious Super Bowl contender until Joe Burrow went down. All that needs to happen for this bet to win is Jake Browning needs just to be 60, 70, 80% of what he was last week. I think he can do that because how hard is it to throw it to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, guys that just get wide open? Joe Mixon's moving again. I feel like this team has a little bit of momentum. And finally, I'm fading a dome team outdoors. Let me look at a couple trends here in this game. Oh, I got to refresh it. Anyways, while I do that, Tyler, well, let's see if I got them up right now.
I don't like the whole just jamming all the dome teams in together into this trend because, like, the Saints and the Lions are absolutely putrid outside to where, like, I feel like the Colts can still play outside. Minshew's played on bad weather teams before. I'm not worried about him playing in the weather. Zach Moss will be able to run the ball. I feel like Monday night skewed a lot of people's views because the Jags pass defense isn't all that good to start with.
But the Colts pass defense isn't all that good either.
But you put those weapons on the field and Jake Browning looks good and everyone runs to run and bet the new guy in town. I don't see it. I think that Minshew's able to move the ball to Pittman, to Downs. They're able to move the ball on the ground. He used Grant in the tight end last week. He's going to use him again this week. The Bengals can't stop tight ends. I'm on the Colts. I think the Colts win this game in the end. Colts are fighting for a playoff spot still. Like, they need these wins. They aren't tanking or anything else. Minshew wants to win, so they want the playoff spot.
The Bengals want to win too.
They want to win, but this game means more to the Colts. I think they have the better quarterback. I'm on the Colts.
All right. Looking at the chat, I'm still catching strays. JC, do you want to join me in taking a winner?
I kind of just like the over.
Let me see what
I don't know if we can count on Browning, right? Like, beautiful performance he put up on Monday night, but I don't know if we can count on him to do that again. We don't really know what we're getting with him. And the Colts, like, they score, right? They don't always win, but they're good at scoring. Cincinnati, they kind of got a mediocre defense. They've allowed a lot of points to some crappy teams. So I think the Colts are going to get theirs, and hopefully, Cincinnati should get enough to hit this over. And then it's just a matter of if what we saw from Browning is legit, or if it was that kind of just first game fanatics that lead to him looking like an all-star. Honestly, what you need to do if you're Browning, you just need to take a hit and go down and go get that Matt Flynn money. But, these guys have more integrity than that.
Or you just ball out.
Yeah, but like if you could ball out, wouldn't you like have a starting role by this point in your career?
Okay, here's the deal with Jake Browning. Top high school prospect. Messed around and lived that Zion Williamson lifestyle. Realized, hey, I need to get my act together. And recently, he's been working hard, doing what he should have been doing since the second he graduated from high school. So the physical talent is there. Now we're finally getting to see a version of him that's focused.
I feel like this is like...
Are we just seeing a guy who gets to throw to some of the best receivers in the league?
I feel like Spread's love...
You mean Tua?
Spread's love for these Washington quarterbacks is getting a little out of hand. He loves
it. It's a bit.
Now
I mean, it's like
put Browning up on this pedestal. It's like, no.
He's talking about it like it's his son. Like, I know he's made some mistakes in the past, but he's a good
he will right here.
It'll be interesting,
Okay, well, I guess that's just another winner that I'll just have all on my own. If you guys need a loan, though, you guys are my good friends. Just let me know. The Houston Texans are -3.5 in New York, taking on the Jets. The total is 33.5. Tyler, do we want to dive into all this controversy around the Jets?
I think if we do anything, it's just bet the Houston Texans. Like, they might not score 24 points, but like, how many do they have to score to cover 3.5 against the Jets?
10?
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's like, what are we even doing here? Like, CJ Stroud's going to put points on the board. I know losing Tank Dell is going to be huge, but I still think they're going to be able to move the ball enough to beat this Jets team. What happens if Zach Wilson goes out there and throws a pick on the first drive? Like, are we going to Brett Rypien or Trevor Siemian? I think Rypien's worse than Zach Wilson. Like, that's
well, they
bad.
all are. That's why them giving up on him in the first place was stupid. Because it goes back to your Tomlin deal. If you want to replace someone, you better have someone better.
Yeah, like
otherwise you don't replace them.
He's fully out. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how true this was, but like there were reports that when Saleh tried to put him back in last week, he told Saleh to go fuck himself. So
yeah, and that's what I want to talk about. So for those who don't know, let me give you. And this is all rumors. I live in Sacramento. I have not been in the New York Jets locker room, but Saleh was texting with a reporter from the NFL Network, and he was trying to defend himself, and he was saying, oh, look at all these other coaches that lost their starting quarterbacks that aren't doing well. If you don't have your starting quarterback, right? This and that. And so in the totality of the exchange, the reporter asked them back, well, why don't you go back to Zach Wilson? And Saleh wrote back, are you kidding me? And then that got leaked. So Zach Wilson heard it. He already knew his teammates didn't like him, right? We saw that from the body language on the field. Now he finds out his coach doesn't believe in him. He's just going out there to get used by a ragdoll because although the Jets invested the draft capital and the free agency money to improve the offensive line, whether it be to injuries or scouting, those players haven't turned out. And now he's got to go back for the coach that doesn't believe in him with the team who doesn't believe in him. I think it's a tough situation for New York. The argument there is that we're making too much of this. And I don't know. It seems to me like it's Texans or pass.
But it's Texans or pass. I think they just go out there and it's an easy win for them in the end. Like I just don't see where they rally around him at any, like even if he goes out there and puts together like a masterclass of a first drive and throws a touchdown, they go up 7-0, the Jets do. Like the moment he makes a mistake,
yeah,
they're gonna want his head. They're gonna want his head almost automatically,
and the whole sideline's gonna slump.
Yeah, he already knew the defense was out on him. They wanted his head by about week 6. The only guy that quote unquote defended him against the defense is caught texting reporters going against him. So he's looking around the room. He ain't got nobody on his side. Yeah. I think the dude can honestly care less. What if he just goes out there and goes, screw this game, and just starts whipping the ball up in the air? And it's like, oh shit, like 3 picks in a row.
I'm sure he's going to try hard, but it's like you said, this is the second he makes a mistake.
He's going to try hard, Spread. This might be the first time you watch a guy go out there and be like, screw you guys. Like,
you think he'll really pull a hard in?
Yeah, I think this could be like the screw you guys. I've been the scapegoat for you guys for 2 years, and now you guys want to throw me back out there and make me do it again? You know what? Watch this. I can see that happening.
JC, Tyler's trying to talk me into the Texans -3.5. And I can't counter.
I mean, I don't. All of that garbage aside, why on earth are the Texans only a 3.5 point favorite?
Because it's in New York and it's a weather game, and they
lost 5 the dead number.
They lost Tank Dell, and losing Tank Dell kills all the chunk plays for this team that they've had over the last couple weeks.
I see no reason why you wouldn't just hammer Houston -3.5. It is, looking like we're gonna get some rain. And it's funny it's almost at the Jets' disadvantage that this game is in New York. Because, I mean, okay, let's, again, put all that aside. Wilson plays. He's just Zach Wilson, right? He's going to make a mistake. He's just not going to have a perfect game. And you're right. As soon as he makes one little mistake, that stadium is going to be lit up. And if it was in Houston, there might be a little more mercy. So, I mean, I think this is a smash spot. It's MetLife, though. Someone's going to get injured. That over 33 is tempting, but I think you just stay safe. Texans -3.5.
You just jinx CJ Stroud.
Huh?
You just jinx CJ Stroud. I'm clipping this.
Oh, it's that freaking stadium. No one goes in there.
Of this show when they're carting him off, and I'm sending it in our group chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right because no one leaves that stadium unscathed.
Tyler, I don't have a line right now for the Seahawks and the 49ers. What do you have?
Let me get pulled back up. I clicked on the Houston game. I was looking at a couple
For
props.
which one? 49ers, you said?
10.5, 46.5 on the total.
Okay, so that means there's been some buyback. This game was all the way out. It's opened around 10, went all the way out to 12. Now it's back to 10, which is weird. Those aren't like key numbers.
I'm on Seattle.
Like who? Why would they wait to 13 to buy back?
I don't know.
Like who saw plus 12 and said I had to have plus 12?
I'd rather have.
My numbers are saying it opened at 12.5.
I'd rather have the 12.5 or 12, 11, but I will gladly take 10.5.
Do you see my point though, JC? So let's say you like the dog here.
Yeah.
You see a 12.5. Aren't I just waiting for 13? Why would I bet into it? Especially because people who move the lines, they're betting big amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they do say you're supposed to wait on a dog, but I don't know if you. I think I think a number that large, and after what we saw on Sunday, I think you just jumped on it. I think that was a line that was bound to come down more so than most dogs.
Okay.
I want to know how often like reports come out that like bookmakers are making a team 5 points better than every other team in the league, how they fare that following game. Because I just feel like this is you just played your Super Bowl in the regular season. You're at the peak of your season. Everyone's giving you maximum value, and you're going to come out flat right here. Seattle's fighting for their life in the NFC playoff picture. Pete Carroll came out and said that they're going to like put on a show this week, that they're going to give full effort, that they're going to fight to win this game. Pete Carroll is a dog, is the second best coach in the last 8 years behind spreads guy Mike Tomlin. So
who's the best?
I mean, as a dog, that guy that got murdered as a favorite last night, you tried to bet. So don't get too ahead of yourself, spread. But Pete Carroll is going to cover this 10.5.
Why am I getting served all day? Bro, it's been 24 hours of L's for me.
Yeah, I just see Seattle. Like maybe Seattle just like it's not even a close game the whole way through. Like game starts, they're down 14-0. All of a sudden it's like 17-3, 24-10, and then the late touchdown covers the back door. So I'm on Seattle here. I think they fight. I think this is honestly a spot too. Like if you want to get crazy and you're watching this game live, you might be clicking Seattle money line at some point in this game. Like these wide receivers, DK Metcalf and Lockett and JSN could give this secondary problems. They scored 35 on Dallas on Thursday. Like that's a good defense too. They can put up points. I think they keep this game within 10.5.
I don't. JC, your thoughts?
No, yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it on Monday. I'm in complete agreement with Tyler. This is way too many points for a division rival. A Seattle team that looked fantastic last week. I mean, I know they lost to Dallas, but I mean, they get that extra rest. They look so good. They didn't look like the team we saw on Thanksgiving. I don't know how you don't take a stab at that 460 money line as well. Just sprinkle a little bit. No need to go crazy.
You're betting a 10.5 point dog backed into a corner when if they lose like 1 to 2 more games, they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was about to say is they're playing for their lives
versus the team who just got
versus the best team in the NFL
versus the best team in the regular season NFL that just played their regular season Super Bowl.
This is a regular season game we're handicapping.
But they just played their regular season Super Bowl against the team that they had the game circled from last NFC Championship game.
But the Seattle rivalry is a big deal.
This is Seattle's going to cover the spread.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So, like, Seattle's going to be bringing their best.
Keg liked Metcalf 100 plus.
That's a great number on Metcalf 100 plus, getting it to 425.
Especially if it goes by my game script and they're down by 14 with 6 minutes to go.
Not even just that. I mean, you've seen it on Thursday. It's like, boom, one play. There's 75 yards. Like, all right.
Keg says the same thing. They're going to be trailing by most likely double digits in the second half. So it could be a chance to go against a softer defense. Yeah, my number came back up at 12.5 and 46.5. The Minnesota Vikings are in Las Vegas. They're taking on the Raiders. The total's 40. Will the Vikings be partying with Zion and Brandon Ingram the night before and show up hungover? Tyler, do my Raiders have a chance?
No, they definitely got a chance. I mean, I think both teams have a chance in this game. It's the Raiders are home dogs by 3. I think that's a little wrong. I think it should just be a pick 'em. But I'm just going to leave this side alone because I can see it going either way. Just give me the over. Jefferson's back. Josh Dobbs will run the ball and keep drives alive too. I know everyone wants to give him shit for the 4 interceptions last week, but a couple of those weren't even his fault. There was tip balls that ended up intercepted. That's just stuff that happens sometimes with these quarterbacks. You see Mahomes throw tip balls for interceptions. Everyone wanted to vilify Dak last year for all the tipped interceptions he threw. Now the dude's a favorite to win the MVP. So I don't take that much away from Dobbs. I think he's going to play. I think Dobbs is going to play a decent game right here. He's going to just pelt Justin Jefferson. 40.5 on this game is too low because then you look on the other side. You got Jacobs, you got Adams, you got Myers. They're going to move the ball and score points too. I see this getting up over that 40.5 number. I don't see the NFL players in the club much this weekend with the NBA guys in towns. They're poor guys compared to these NBA players.
They might know each other, though.
They might know each other, but when like LeBron, AD, and like the guys making hundreds of millions of dollars have all the sections in the club, and you roll in making $2 million, and you need incentives to get that.
It's a lot of clubs in Vegas, Tyler.
Yeah, but it's still spread. They're at the poor end of the clubs right now with the NBA guys in town. All
right, Jonathan Nelson, you misspelled Zion Williamson. I'll send you how to spell that via DM. Your top quarterback, Josh Dobbs. Jabroni Clyde disagrees with you, agrees with me. Good to know that time is making me look wise, wonderful, and wise once again. I don't think you're supposed to say wise and wise. JC, what are your thoughts here? Do my Raiders have a chance?
Yeah, absolutely they have a chance, but I got no interest in the side. Give me the under, man. I mean, since Vegas got their new coach from Compton, they've averaged like 15 points a game. Oh, if you remove that game against the Giants, they're averaging 15 points a game. Minnesota, with Josh Dobbs, they're averaging about 20 points a game, and they played some sorry defenses. So I think Vegas, they got a pretty solid defense. They'll be able to hold Dobbs to 20 or less for sure. I don't expect anything crazy out of this Raiders offense. So I think under 40.5 is a great bet.
Grail, man, we're opposite on everything.
You know, that means we're coming into Monday pretty much 500 is probably what that's going to be.
We bet over 40, JC.
I don't see how it gets there.
I'm not impressed with either defense.
Yeah, I don't think either defense is good, and you're adding Jefferson back in.
Yeah.
We were
able to hold the Patriots and the Bears, so no points. I mean, like,
they held Miami to 20 in Miami, and Kansas City only put up 31.
That's because Miami thought they had a bye that week.
Wasn't that the game Tyreek Hill went to the locker room too, and then came back out? He was all banged up.
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see who wins on that one, JC. Yeah. I would say good luck, but I hope you have terrible luck.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to lie. Clyde, Denver Broncos. Don't take the Denver Broncos in Survivor. There's no reason to take a team that's plus 132 on the money line in Survivor.
Especially in a divisional game. Please don't.
Pardon?
Especially a divisional game.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. But I do like the Broncos plus 3 here. I didn't bet it though, Tyler. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. I'll sum it up. When you take out the turnovers, the Broncos defense hasn't been that good. They've just been opportunistic with the ball. So if you're going to continue to bet the Denver Broncos, you're going to have to assume that they're going to be able to get turnovers. Now, that's not that crazy against this completely banged up Los Angeles Chargers offense. I think Austin Eckler is at the end of an elite run as a fantasy player and as a football player. But I think the wear and tear has finally got to him. He's not the same explosive player. Keenan Allen also not 100%. He could probably still perform pretty well, but that's got to hurt. And then there's no one else. This defense is the epitome of stars and scrubs, right? It looks like it's an NBA DraftKings lineup. You got like 3 guys worth $12K and then 8 guys at $3K. So the defense has not been good. I lean the Broncos plus 3, Tyler. Not enough to get there with the bet. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this game. This AFC West has just become a shit show outside of KC, and KC isn't even much far away from that shit show. Surtain's banged up. Kareem Jackson suspended. Denver has looked good in recent weeks, but it's like you beat Cleveland, who you knocked out DTR, and they sent in PJ Walker back in. So it's like, nah, cool. You beat Minnesota, and that was the game. I believe Dobbs was throwing all the picks. You lucked out against Buffalo, even though I had that game right. I will gladly say they lucked out on that with that 12-man on the field call at the end. They should have lost that game. And then they beat KC in Green Bay. So it's like the KC win's impressive, but what we've seen from KC, I don't really think they're all that impressive anymore. Then they lose to Houston last week. I think they hit a very nice stretch in their schedule. They won the games they should have. The Chargers aren't that good of a team, but it's a divisional game where stuff can go out the window and you can just see random things happen. So I'm staying away from this one. I could see the argument for Denver. I mean, I really don't see an argument for the Chargers, but it just seems like a spot where if you bet Denver, Keenan Allen goes out there and Surtain sits, and Keenan Allen has 150 and 2 touchdowns.
I agree. Yeah, so we're staying away. All right, Clyde. I shouldn't even waste time on this. Pats were 220 on the money line. Was that a bad bet? For Survivor, yes. You picked a team that only had a 34% chance to advance, and they did. It doesn't mean it was smart. Mm-hmm. It's just like, right, if I go all in with an inside straight draw and I hit the straight on the river, is that a good bet? No. Long term, it's not going to work.
I don't play Survivor all like that, but like in this point in the year, like fields are dwindling. Wouldn't it be smart to use, like, say for instance,
the biggest favorites on the board?
Well, no, because that's the default way of thinking when it comes to this. Like everyone's going to do that.
But not a lot of people are going to have the same teams available.
No, I agree, but like the guys that are good at this are going to have the same teams available. So the moment you pivot and you get off of one of these teams and get on, say, a Patriots, for instance, last week, I bet you a lot of them guys saved the Jags. I bet you a lot of them guys pulled trigger on the Jags. I bet you a lot of them guys don't got entrance anymore. So it's like I think late in the year with Survivor, if you can make a stand and just get one game right like that, all of a sudden, if that upset happens, you cleared the field for yourself.
I mean, we're just not going to agree on anything today, are we?
I mean, you could play Survivor and like me and you could each get a Survivor thing and go through the schedule. And I bet by the end of the year, I bet you a lot of weeks, it's like, well, we hit on this team the same exact. We hit on this team the same exact. Oh, shit, we both got knocked out week 13 because we both picked this team. But JC went and put a stand on a plus 200 dog, and he won the Survivor pool in week 13.
Yeah. Quite talking shit to me because I forgot to enter.
He said, how many Survivor you got?
Because I forgot to enter one week. That's how I got eliminated. I had 3 or 4 still left. I had only lost 1.
He came at you straight. He said, how many you got left?
JC, did you break down the Chargers Broncos yet?
I did not. Thank you for asking.
Would you like to?
I'd love to. You said Broncos +3, right?
That's what I said.
Man, keep the points. Give me the money line.
I hate that.
Chargers have been just garbage. They are so bad. They can't put anything together. I mean, you know, the old man Eckler, he can only Allen can only carry this team for so long. It's just Denver's playing so well. I don't know why Tyler and other people out there don't want to support this wagon that is the Denver Broncos. I mean, lost a close game to the Houston Texans last week. No big deal. I mean, that's a good loss. They're still playing good football. I don't see a way the Chargers pull out a win here. I mean, it's not, nothing guaranteed. I'm not saying play the Broncos in your Survivor leagues, but just given what we've seen given what we've seen out of LA, I think the Broncos are a great bet.
All right. You like the +132 on the money line, and I agree with you there. If I were to make a play on that game, that's where I would be at. Let's talk about the best game of the afternoon. The Kansas City Chiefs are down to even, Tyler. They were what, -1.5 when we discussed this game yesterday?
Yeah, it's almost like that injury report I read out to you yesterday. All them guys are starting to get rolled out.
All right. So break down this game. I like the Chiefs, but not enough to bet it yet.
Is it my go?
Yeah, talk to me about Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head's going to win himself a game on Sunday. In Arrowhead, give me the Bills. Better offense, the defense for the Chiefs is beat up. Pacheco's not playing, so good luck with CEH running the ball. McKinnon's out. Like,
no way. We got McKinnon.
oh, he's out.
He's out too?
Yeah. You got guys on the defense banged up. Tranquil, Bolton. There's a lot of guys banged up on this team that you weren't realizing. This Chiefs team is going to sputter into the playoffs. They're going to make sure this team doesn't have home field advantage. The only way they do it is if all these AFC teams just fall apart at the top. I'm on Buffalo here. Buffalo rolls into KC. They pick up the win. After McDermott gave his team that 9/11 speech and channeled his inner George Bush. Now watch this drive. We're going to win this game. We're going to go on to win it all. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills on Sunday.
JC, what would you do if you're in a locker room and your coach is talking about, think about how the 9/11 terrorists work together.
The best part of that entire thing.
I said this has to be a contest where the players were like, all right, who can get the most ridiculous story leaked? Who can get Schefter?
No, he talked about it. McDermott addressed it today.
Real.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, supposedly Sean McDermott tried to give a rallying cry to his team about how together the 9/11 terrorists had to have been and how much they had to believe in each other to be able to pull off that attack. That's how the Bills needed to act.
Did you read the entire article where they're like, he's asking players, he was like, what do you think was like their biggest obstacle to overcome? And they said one of the veterans chimed in was like, TSA.
But the funny thing is TSA didn't exist then.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where it's like, oh, you'd say something. No, you'd be in too much shock and disbelief. You'd be like, is this guy really doing this right now? Tyler, beautiful job with the Watch This Drive. I mean, that plays on so many levels. You really should be hosting this show.
You guys got to be fucking kidding me today.
We need more of that, and less Brock Purdy, so Purdy. That's what we need. That's what we need. That's next level humor, Tyler. You got going on there. Freaking tiramisu with the layers. I don't know if I get there on this game. I mean, it's Buffalo's playing better. I'm not gonna bet against Kansas City though. Had some bad losses, but I don't think that's indicative of this team, right? Like they're not playing well. Yes, they appear to be on the decline, and Buffalo seems to be on the rise. So there's an easy case to make for Buffalo, but I'm not prepared to fade Kansas City. And to me, that's more of what the bet is than a vote of confidence for the Bills. I'm probably staying off of it, but if I got to make a pick, I'm sticking with Kansas City.
Thank you. I'm taking Kansas City. I got the better coach. I got the better quarterback. I got home field advantage. You're telling me that the Buffalo Bills are 2.5 points better than the Kansas City Chiefs?
In Arrowhead? Yeah. Being in Arrowhead too. And it's like, yes, the Bills are playing better, but they still haven't won, right? I mean, like I know they beat the Jets, but they still lost to Denver. They still lost to Philly. It's
you get Kansas City coming off loss. Give me the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
All I'm going to say is read the injury report. We did this last night. We're like, oh, give me the Steelers. Read the injury report. A lot of key guys out. They got smashed.
Hey, it's Mahomes playing. It's Kelsey playing.
Just looking at this. Tackle, Donovan Smith, downgraded to out. Drew Tranquil, linebacker, downgraded to out. Brian Cook, safety, downgraded to out. Isaiah Pacheco, downgraded to out. Nick Bolton, out indefinitely. Those are all key pieces. All of those being either on the offensive line or the defense outside of Pacheco. Good luck.
Yeah, Pacheco, that's definitely a bad loss, but still, I think you got
good luck
Kelsey,
when he's throwing the ball to MVS and Sky Moore because Kelsey can't get open.
Sky vodka. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're plus 3.5 in Dallas, taking on the Cowboys. Totals 52. I think this is a great spot for the Eagles to bounce back, Tyler. I know my projections like the Cowboys, but that's because the Cowboys bully on weaker teams. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against a team such as the Eagles. Eagles, I think they're being a little undervalued because they look so bad against the San Francisco 49ers. This is their chance to get back on track. My only concern is that Jalen Hurts isn't 100%. Otherwise, this would be a smash spot for me. I like the plus 3.5. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I got to take the plus 3.5 once they give us the hook. I think that's just disrespectful to the Eagles. Big overreaction to last week. I get it. The final score shows they got pounded, but I said it on the Fan Speak show. The first 2 drives for the Eagles, they get inside the red zone. They don't convert into touchdowns. That's not very like the Eagles. Those were points left on the board there. They were in a very tough spot. Spread described that all on that show too, with all the travel they've done, all the hard games they've played. They knew coming into that San Fran game last week, you can go 1-1 in these games and hold the 1 seed. You can't go 0-2. San Fran was playing like their life depended on it last week. Philly held them to -6 in the first quarter, and I think they realized that like San Fran was going to go tooth and nail. They were willing to end the season right there as long as they got a win. Well, they kind of just were like, all right, screw this. Then Hurts gets banged up. They're like, all right, let's just get out of here. Debo goes off. 49ers get what they want. Now they get to play Dallas, who's just beat up on bad teams too. I think Dak plays well, but in the end, I think this is a close game. And I think this is the one where it's like Philly's up 4. Dallas is driving down the field late in the game. They get close. Dak tries to squeeze a pass, and it's just too tight of a window. Philly ends up intercepting it. The story on Monday is Dak unreliable with the ball again? When in reality, he had a great game and just threw 1 game-losing pick. So I'm taking Philly. It's going to be a close one. I think they got out the win, though. CeeDee Lamb's going to shred that defense, though.
JC, break down the Eagles taking on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He likes the dog.
Take the dog.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to grab the dog in this one. I don't blame anyone who'd grab that plus 150, but I think 3.5 is just the perfect number. I think 3.5 kind of covers your ass if anything crazy has happened. There's a strong case that can be made for Dallas. I mean, they nearly stole the victory earlier in the year in Philly. They have dominated the Eagles in Dallas, but too much is going for the Eagles coming off a loss. The way they played this season, you can't possibly pass on Philly plus 3.5. That's a play you ride with, and if you miss it, you can throw your hands up in the air, but you can sleep easy knowing you missed on Philly plus 3.5.
Tyler, what's your best bet for week 14?
My best bet for week 14. I can't quote any more of his speeches, but if there was somebody throwing shoes at me, I'd be ducking because we're taking the Buffalo Bills.
JC, what is your best bet?
There's so many good options.
The Bills. Give me a freaking break, Tyler. We agree on so much, and you got to do me like that.
Because this is the same
After
spot
I'm
we were in
already
last night's
struggling
spread.
because the Lakers won.
We're in the same spot we were in last night's spread. You're like, oh, Mike Tomlin, and all
Yeah, now I'm
players,
on Andy Reid.
and all his players were, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Everyone else is hurt.
You're going to be hurt when I win again.
As much as I'd love to give out the under in Vegas, because I think that's a great play.
I'm surprised you haven't, since everyone's going against me today.
Yeah, but I'm gonna just Texans minus 3.5. It makes no sense.
Fred, we're lining this up for your greatest ever Monday show. You're gonna roll in. You're gonna be chest puffed out. Like you're bringing energy on Monday.
Could be, but Texans minus 3.5. It just makes no sense. That's way too easy of a play to pass up on. So I'll give that for my best bet.
Give me the Cleveland Browns minus 2.5. Even if Trevor Lawrence is back in there, that's going to be a tough place to play. We already talked about the win there. Tyler talked about their lack of rushing attack, and this is the best defense in the NFL, and then it's even better at home. Give me the Cleveland Browns here. I like them minus 2.5 regardless who plays. Thank you for jumping in, Meg. We forgot. Give Meg a player performance double. JC, find one. Tyler, I'm sure you have one already. And
mine was the Fields 100+ rushing yards and Bears minus 3 was plus 750.
Okay. Do you have a player performance double, JC, that you'd like to throw in?
I saw over 1.5 interceptions in the Tampa Bay Atlanta game. Seems like an awesome bet.
I like that.
All right, we can throw that one in there. And I would take Jamar Chase over receiving yards with the Cincinnati Bengals to win for mine. So there's a fun one, Meg. Thank you for reminding me. After being beat up all day, I think I have CTE, and I couldn't remember. But JC, I heard you have the words of wisdom that will heal my hurting brain.
Yeah. Doing something a little bit different today. Pittsburgh Penguins money line, 60-minute line. It doesn't matter. This is my favorite NHL play we've had so far this season. Penguins are an incredible team. They've been playing crappy. They had a players only meeting on Wednesday. They're going to come out guns a-blazing against the Panthers. No
Money
bad
line?
bets. Yes. Money line, 60-minute line, -1.5. Doesn't matter. Lock it in. Penguins picking up a big, big win tonight.
They're plus
in
142 in Florida.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. His words of wisdom: take the Penguins plus 142.